So I've got a cocoa petal dust, and I'm just going to take that and use my brush and just kind of brush it on there. And what that's going to do is that's going to even take the places where I added the color, it's going to flatten them out because the vodka is going to make it shiny, and we don't want part of the stump shiny and part of it not. So by taking the petal dust and going over the top of it, I'm kind of toning that down a little bit. Okay, and I'm not putting a ton, just a little bit, enough to flatten that shine down. And if you wanted to, you wouldn't even have to use the vodka. You could just use the petal dust and paint it in with the petal dust. So, but you want it to have different depth of color. You don't want it to be all the same color. And we get that from not mixing the brown completely in with the white, you know. You get that way, but this is another way to get kind of a different depth of color in here. Okay, so getting that pretty much done. All right, I like how that's looking. And now we are going to add some shelf mushrooms. So let me go grab those and I'll show you how to create those. Okay, so now we're ready to make our shelf mushrooms. Now I've got 4 already done here, but I'm going to show you how I do them. This is just modeling chocolate. I like working with modeling chocolate to do these better than fondant because modeling chocolate hardens really fast, but then later on, if I want to adjust them, I still can, and I'll show you that when I'm putting them on. But from what I've researched in my 5 minutes on the internet, shelf mushrooms just kind of look, they're a little flat, and they kind of get thick towards the center, and they have kind of little, almost like petals. It's all kind of one thing from what I can gather, but it's got a little bit of a petal-y feel to it. So I'm just going to do like that, and I'm just indenting with my fingers, and nothing is exact. I'm going to take my toothpicks and put those in there like that, and I'm going to texture them because they have a texture. I don't know if it's this texture, but we're going with it. So there's the texture, like that. And then I'm going to, again, use my petal dust. So I'm using brown on this one and just kind of pushing the brown around on that one. This one was still a little wet. Normally I would petal dust it after it had dried so it didn't have those, it didn't give it those streaks like that. But let me see if I can get that out of there. But I'm just going to petal dust that in like that. You just want to have it have a little bit of depth to it on the edges. And now we're going to add these to the cake. So I'm going to use the ones that I've already created, and I'm going to put those into the cake. Get these over here. And I like to have them kind of all on one side, so it looks like they've all kind of grown up one end. So I'm going to work on this end over here. And I'm going to take it, and I'm just going to shove it right in there. Okay? And I'm going to push. The center had a little bit where you could see through it, where it wasn't touching the tree. So I'm just going to push with my fingers, push it in there so it looks like it's coming right out of the tree. And then I want to give it some movement, which is why I like to use the chocolate better than than fondant, because if I used fondant or gum paste, this would harden and I wouldn't be able to give it any kind of movement. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze a little bit and give it some kind of up and down, because I really don't know how it's going to look until I get it on the cake. So there's my first mushroom. So I'm going to put that in there. Now let's grab a little smaller one, and I'm going to put it right just kind of above it and put that in there. And again, I'm going to squeeze it around so it looks like it's actually coming out of the cake, and give it some depth and give it some movement so that we have some pieces like that. All right. And because you can see my fingers are getting all dirty because I'm kind of pressing all the dust around, we can dust them again once they're on here. But for now, I just wanted to get them all in place. And then once we see how they look, we'll go ahead and dust them again. All right. Let's take this one. I'm going to put it, let's see. I'm going to put this one down here. And this one's way far out from the tree, you can see. So I'm really going to have to mush it and bring it around so it looks like it is So you can see right there how it's not touching. So I'm just going to squeeze it and push it and get it right up against that, because you want it to look like the whole thing is attached to the tree. So by doing that, I'm just going to kind of squeeze it around, squeeze my edges a little bit, make some go up, make some go down, so that it has some movement in it.